who is assistant professor at the Loran University in Budapest, and currently also visiting professor at the Babeș-Bolyai University in Cluj-Napoca. She previously also spent 3 years as a researcher at the University of Oslo as well. Monika's interests lie in contemporary East Central European literature, and visual culture, world literature, transnational literature and cinema, multilingualism, theory of intermediality, border studies, space and border theory, memory and gender studies connected to post-socialist societies. And if we need any, further evidence that she's very much a fellow traveler of our language project on language contact here at the Institute of World Literature, her own project that she had in Budapest was called Contact Zones, and spacing Athena's cultural images of space contact zones in contemporary Hungarian Romanian film literature. So the idea of contact is very much present there in themes as well. Monika published 2 monographs in Hungarian. In English, they're called Language Carnival, the Poetics of Hungarian New Avant-Garde Artworks and Transparent Frames, the Intimacy of Reading, and also 3 co-edited and edited volumes. And she's also published over 100 articles in 6 languages at just right, which I'm still absorbing that fact. So the floor of yours is yours. I'm very excited to have you here. And Monika's focus in current multilingual originals in translation, acoustic poetics of invented names.
Thank you so much, Angela. And thank you so much for invitation and Happy New Year for all of you. And thank you so much being inside in this dark room when it's outside is so super better. So yeah, it's a double point that you are here. So yeah, I have a lot of PPT, but I don't know. So I will stop at 1 hour. So please, so the structure will be at the beginning. I will try to contextualize a bit this kind of multilingual literature in East Central Europe. Using local theories, so but just very just touching a little bit, and then I will talk about Adam Bodor's novels, 2 of them. I will try to show you how they are multilingual and what does it mean, this kind of poetics. And then at the end, hopefully I will have time for that. I will show you some translations, and because this kind of multilingual novel words or multilingual novels, it's quite difficult to translate. So it's very interesting. What is the translator? What makes with this kind of multilinguality? What happens actually with this multilingual layer in the translation? So yeah, yeah. But first, oops, doesn't. Okay. Oh, I don't have mouse. Okay, so yeah, I have. Okay. What doesn't hold? Yeah, just with mouse. Okay. So okay. I have this image from the French Hungarian artist group. Their name is Society Realist, and I use this image which is an artwork. because I think reflects and visually shows this kind of region where we live. So the title is Culture States, Superimposition of Political Frontiers at the turn of each century between year 0 and year 2000 on the European Peninsula and its surroundings. So it's a digital print on deep wall. So as you can see, it looks like a dense veining of borders. So because of the stratification of different maps from different periods. So somehow our territory, if we look in the past, so if we can see this stratification, so it looks like a very natural image. So yeah, and I think this we need to keep in mind this kind of stratification of the borders. So first, is Central Europe as multilingual? This concept. So yeah, I don't want to repeat my several theses, but you know, it's as a historical in-between territory where dislocating maps have for centuries continuously reframed static spaces and their inhabitants, so merges traces of different national and ethnic memories. So this is my my point of view about this territory. So this kind of juxtaposition and heterogeneity and hybridity, so I think can be explained, and I hope we can have a discussion about this through this multilingual aspect of the literature. So somehow we can find Slovakian, Romanian, Hungarian, Polish multilingual literatures, or somehow this having these layers of multilinguality and compare or create a common box, let's say common new box, and somehow to cross this kind of national categorization, which are very strong and more strong even contemporary. So I have here some just very quickly enumerated terms, like from Beata Tomka, who is from Vojvodina, but she lives in Hungary right now, but she has this kind of multilingual background also from Vojvodina. So her unfortunately, her theory is written in Hungarian and not translated into English, but also in Serbian and Croatian. Probably she published articles, and even in world literature studies. I remember. I think last year she published a study. So her concept is kind of multilingual self-awareness or commuting grammars. So it's my translation. I hope it is good. This kind of commuting grammars between languages. So and also the multiple affiliations. So because we always, or myself, I meet such phenomena which I cannot put in one national box, like myself. So I come from Romania, but I at least I feel Hungarian, but the Romanian layer in my so it's important. So I am not Hungarian from Hungary. I'm Hungarian from Transylvania. So this kind, and where I can put myself in which boxes. So this kind of multiple affiliation. So I think we need, or we should create such kind of categorization or categories where we can where we can put this kind of literature. Yeah. So she says that the cultural homogeneity is counterbalanced by becoming multifaceted, and the national literary horizons and hierarchy are replaced by a non-centered, networked, transcultural relationship system. So I don't know if it's an ideological or ideally imagination, but this kind of networked transcultural relationship system. So I think it is also a good point. So, but also from Italy comes several good terms and ideas, this kind of multilingual locals, located perspectives by multilingualism. So because this local global axis also is very, very important and strong in contemporary debates. So somehow this local as transnational and multilingual, I think somehow changes this kind of one-directional movement from periphery to the center. So yeah, it so mixes somehow this kind of axis. Yeah, I will skip this. Or actually not. The located and multilingual approach shows that the imperial, center colonial, or quasi-colonial periphery axis was only one among the vectors of circulation. That European literature was also co-constituted through this axis rather than being a prior formation. And the language or rather multilingualism may indeed be a better starting point than the nation for comparative literature. So also I think it's a good statement that multilingualism may indeed be a better starting point than the nation for comparative literature. Okay, so yes, I tried to use the Slovakian theorist or from the region, but you know better as me, like me. So the Peter Zayat's this idea of a synoptic chart, which was I don't know if you heard about it. Yes. So these are very far metaphors somehow, but I really like this idea behind this metaphor. So the synoptic chart is which is not fixed, but does not have constant coordinates, but it is characterized by mobile, vibrating, pulsating movements and the possibilities for changing. So it comes from the meteorology, this synoptic chart. So like the weather, it changes. But so somehow we can use at least in our imagination yeah, and also this movement of borders over people. You know this Bubecker, but Miloš Zelenka, another co-patriot, I think, he also translated from Hungarian. So sorry, it's I don't know. So I cannot translate from Slovakian, but Benyovsky Christian translated his work into Hungarian, so I retranslated it to English, the Hungarian one. So he argues that this also this East Central, he uses just Central Europe, so this is this mobile and unstable region. But this aspect of is also a guarantee of its stability. It is difficult to destroy it without a trace. A trace, it will be important in the Borders case, the various components of the region. the quote from him are in the various components of the region are in tension with each other in divergent ways, but neither can definitely suppress the other. So I think this is also important that are tensions, but neither can definitely suppress the other. So this is how he categorizes this East Central region. Also, Marko Juvan, who is Slovenian, or at least I think I totally agree with him that he points out that hegemonic monolingualism of the official language and monolingual conceptual systems and states in the East Central European geocultural space reduce the multilingual environments and complex identities in the region. So it's a reduction or of the phenomena, which is after him mostly multilingual and not monolingual. Okay, so I will skip. Okay, so I will. Can you see? Oh, yeah, localized translation. That's the. I found just one translation of Bodor into Slovakian, which is, I don't know, it's quite strange because it's translated in, I think, in 20 or 30 languages. So it's very well translated author, but I found just Zona Sinistra, his first novel, and it's translated by Mária Fazekasova. Do you know her? No. But she's the Bodor's translator in Slovakian context. So yeah, but I will. Unfortunately, I don't have. Oh, I have many translations books in my other suitcase. I have to bring. It's upstairs, but okay. So, but I have on PPT, but I wanted to show you the books, but it's okay. I forgot that I put in the other suitcase. So, but I will work with the German, English, and also the French and Italian translators, translations. So as you can see, our beautiful books, at least beautiful covers. So the third one was, I think, the German Schutzgebot Sinistra, translated by Hans Szkirecki. And the software original, it was translated into German recently, so 20 years or 20 years in between two translators or translations. So yeah, I put here my abstract, but I want probably you read on the page, website, so I don't want to repeat. But so just some. So I think I will skip this. So I will talk a little bit about Adam Bodor, just to be familiar with him. So he's a Hungarian writer born in Cluj or Kolozsvár or Klausenburg in Transylvania, and he emigrated to Hungary in time of Ceausescu dictatorship. So because that was a hard anti-minority time. So in that yeah. And no, it's not that. You don't need to. Yeah. So, but we can. So Yeah, it's my fault. Sorry, guys. I forgot everything that. So his novels and oeuvre can be seen as Hungarian literature because it's written in Hungarian. Yeah, but also we can put in that box that he is a transborder Hungarian writer. Transborder Hungarian writer, it means that Hungarian writers around Hungary, outside of Hungary, Slovakia, in Serbia, in Romania, so and in Ukraine. So the so-called transborder Hungarian literature, it's very good for this kind of multilingual context. Oh, thank you so much. Contextualization, I will, because these are Hungarian literature, but somehow very impregnated and saturated by other languages, by the state languages in where they are born. So yeah, but it's the model is specific because he's part of Romanian literature as world literature. So which is very I think it's very rare phenomenon that a Hungarian writer is part of Romanian literature. So it's very tricky, this phenomena. But this kind of Romanian literature as world literature, at least in English, and as a world literature, because in the national canonization in Romania, I think the nationalist, or we don't want to say the nationalist part of Romanian literary history. So I think they don't accept this kind of, but in English and as world literature. So he and then the two others, Hungarian minority writers in Romania, they are part of Romanian literature as world literature. So which is, I think it's. I am very happy that they are in this Romanian world literature, but so I won't be able to go in detail. But this kind of Romanian world literature, this book, I think it's a very good example how this kind of national literature can be open and restructured somehow in very new ways. So the whole, because what is the background? So they somehow they open this national boxes, and because this is a Romanian literature taught by a nationalist aspect, then if I put one Hungarian into a Romanian context, it is an appropriation, yes? But if the context is an open context, then I think it's okay. So we can see that his oeuvre can be put in different boxes. So it's a mixture of categorization. Yeah. So by being set in multi-ethnic, so now I will talk about his novels. So by being set in multi-ethnic borderlands, Bodor novels create a fictitious intermediate discursive space where the different cultural and multilingual references are inseparable and saturated with each other in the most organic way. By creating multi-ethnic and multilingual literary works, they indirectly question traditional thinking about languages and cultures that is based on the triad of nation, language, and country. So I will say some general things at the beginning, and then I will give you some examples from the, yeah. So the zone, the Sinistra zone, okay, so now I have the books. Sorry, my Okay. So, this is the first edition of the Sinistra Zone in Hungarian and the Verhovina in Europe. And I have Romanian Zona Sinistra, Estonian, and I have one Serbian Sinistra, and I have one in this way, the French, the birds of Verhovina, and the others I have on PDF. So these are the if you want to, I think the Serbian would be understandable for some of you. Yes, so the Sinister Zone chapters of a novel. The subtitles also are very interesting, important in his case. Evokes Ruthenian cultural heritage and the traces of historical memory in the multilingual poetic space through a transnational and transborder narratorial perspective. Third novel, The Birds of Verhovina, variations on the end of days. So this is a subtitle. Is dedicated to Jewish cultural traces in a poetic world in which Hungarian appears as an incomprehensible language. The novel preserves the historical layers of a multi-ethnic region and depicts us as saturated by Jewish, Yiddish, and Hungarian cultural ruins. Unfolding transformative processes of repurposing mark the former presence of a material and spiritual Jewish, Yiddish, and Austro-Hungarian cultural legacy. I don't know who are familiar with the novel, so I know that Mariana read, but so I will just very short let's say contextualize the diegetic word. The Sinister Zone is infused with the technologies of power and media of a dictatorial system that controlled and abolished the private sphere, which is typical for the second half of the 20th century in East Central Europe. The Birds of Verhovina is framed by a more recent capitalist system that replaces a previous structure which had to the contours of a more egalitarian systems. So can you read this? Because my voice, yes. In this sense, Bodor consistently writes his imaginary historical vision on the transformations in East Central Europe. In his view, structural and political transformations make visible the region's stratified multi-ethnic memory and heritage that is framed differently by various systems, but is still present as a natural and cultural ruins. So I think he has his own imaginary and this historical process because he returns. So actually, he writes about the similar places and territories. The structure. I have a lot of text here, so. Somehow, as the subtitles suggest, these narratives are open narrative structures with the chapters of a novel. So it's not a chapters of a novel, which is an open question. Could be more chapters, and the subtitle is the variations on the end of days. So variations is also an open case. So somehow these open narrative structures create variability and mobility as a poetic principle. And in his canonization, this was mostly perceived as a postmodern poetics. And I have a different interpretation for this, and I will say this now. So an compositional basis formed by the absent presence of languages and the cultures and ethnicities that are preserved in their disappearance. The fragmentary and iterative narration is an unfinished, variable, mobile form developed by the poetics of these novels is linked to the vanished words of the different epochs, the traces of which appear in a ruined, transformed form as natural relics and shifted memories. So absent cultures, languages, and ethnicities are present in traces and through the memories of their past presence. The words of the novels are posited as narrative words that are constantly changing and thus incomplete. The cultural, social, ethnic, and linguistic transformation of a region is thus expressed as a poetic principle in narrative or structural openness and variability. So this kind of structural openness is I link with this vanished words and with traces and ruins of these words. So it's not just a postmodern play, I think, but this kind of completeness is related with this vanished and disappeared words and heritages. So that's I think it's very important. So I think this is my main statement regarding the novels, the Bodor's poetics, that the words of the novels are posited as narrative words that are constantly changing and thus incomplete. The cultural, social, ethnic, and linguistic transformation of a region is thus expressed as a poetic principle in narrative or structural openness and variability. Okay. So from here, you can see that the transformation is the main characteristic of these multilingual spaces, in which the resulting gaps and absences are inherent part of the poetic word. So the absences are inherent part of the poetic word. And also this kind of open narrative structure also anticipates the possibility of further transformations in the future. So this is why it's open, because it's open not just to the past, but to the future too. So their totality could be only be imagined through the filtrating absences of peoples, cultures, and languages. So that I think it has this kind of political layer also to in this sense. So the traces of the previous epoch's cultural conditions and ethnic constellations as in transformation, in transmission, and perpetual transmigration are part of these textual words. The plurality of languages and their traces preserve the fertile ground for interethnic connections and coexistences. At the same time, also mark the restless tensions and conflicts that have been present in the region's history. So this kind of tensions, it's very also we can see and feel. Even in our contemporary. Yeah, so this is just again the general characterization or keywords for the novel, for the novel's poetics. So the borders, the border zone is that a border zone. So the first novel, Sinistrum, is set somewhere in Romanian, Ukrainian, Polish, and Moldavian border zone that appears to be an interface between real and imaginary words. So, and I will have long quotes going, but can you manage that? Because yes, because it's important. So I have the quote in German and in English and in German.
here. And here. And here.
Just drag it somewhere else, maybe. So,
Yeah, or yeah.
Yeah. I think it's all right here.
Yeah, just I cannot see my. Oh, yeah, I will try to. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't see myself, so you can read. It's okay because yeah. So this is the beginning of the novel, and creating the place where the diegetic place. So and so till here, please read. Yeah, yeah. So I cannot move. Yeah. Now back. They are so sensitive. Okay, so as you can recognize, so in the quote, it was the Ukrainian border and the Ruthenian hills. So and into English was translated Ruthenia. It's and in German Ruthenischen Waldgebiet. So, that's more closer to Hungarian. Because yeah, Ruthenian hills is not, it's a very, I think it's different from Ruthenia, yeah, because the English reader or American reader thinks that is a country, Ruthenia. So I don't say that is a mistake. I want to stress the differences because the Ukrainian border and the Ruthenian hills in Hungarian, so they both signal existing geopolitical entities. Yes, so these are that. The Ruthenian signals it's a difference from the Ukrainian border as a contemporary geopolitical entity. The Ruthens are a stateless ethnicity. The Ukrainian are a nation and hopefully remain a state. So I think so. Here is it's very nuanced that it's a little nuanced that the text juxtaposes different territorial definitions and different cartographic constructions. The description of the landscape layering on each other the different geopolitical divisions of the space as archived maps. So, the narratorial viewpoint is from inside. It was that me, who I am inside of this region. So he knows both kind of both. So which is one of his is a Ukrainian border, a state, nation state, and the other Ruthenian hills is a can be connect to the ethnicity or Ruthenia, but without a state. So these are very, very different conceptions or inscriptions into a landscape. Yes. So, and because, as you know very well, the Rusyns, so I have here a quote, who are the Rusyns, because I wasn't so familiar who are the Rusyns, so I did research. Because of this Ruthenian hills in the novel. So yeah, now I know who are the Rusyns. The other layer is created between real Ukrainian border, because we know that is a real, and remains real, hopefully, and the Tunguzic flu, which is a non-existent flu, at least when was the novel written in 95. So somehow the flu of birds was after this. So somehow he invented this kind of flu before the birds flu. Yeah. So this creates interplay between real and imaginary. And also I wanted to show you here that this kind of cryptic and ironic level of the novel, that in the novel the authorities postpone vaccination because this winter would be epidemic free. As Dr. Olaine concludes, they have postponed the epidemic. This very cryptic repartee gives an impression on the logic of authorities depicted in the novel, and also of the novel's peculiar humor. So you can read the dialogue between two characters in the novel. So they have postponed the epidemic, observed Dr. Olaine. Yeah, you believe that? You believe that? Why not? So it's kind of ironic layer. Okay, so then you can see, so this was the description of the landscape as a stratification of different cartographies, where the Ukrainian border and Ruthenian hills together in that landscape. You can see the names of the novel. So these are all are multi-ethnic hybrid names. So these are invented names, and all of them are written in non-Hungarian word order. So even the Géza Kökény, who his name looks like a Hungarian of them, but that is in non-Hungarian order, because the Hungarian order will be Kökény Géza. So we have this different order in the names. But so this kind of it's not just that the multi-ethnic. So what I mean with this name. So Béla Bundazian is a Hungarian-Armenian name, for example. Mustafa Mukerman is Turkish-German. Zoltán Marmorstein is a Hungarian, Yiddish-German, Saxon name. Aaron Vargotsky could be Hebrew, Yiddish, Polish name. The name of Colonel Isolda Mavrodin Mahmoudia, or Koka Mavrodin, contains the contemporary names of two Romanian villages, as Mavrodin is a village in Teleorman County, Muntenia, and Mahmoudia is a village in Tulcea County, northern Dobruja. So the novel's characters are from their first appearance multi-ethnic, bringing into play a non-existent, so it's very important, a non-existent imaginary cultural state of the past. All the names are written in a non-Hungarian order. So this also is one aspect that if we find a real existing Ukrainian border, which is, so we can somehow we try to put there a story, but this kind of invention of the names. So it's impossible to place into a real place. So to differentiate how we say this kind of, so it's not, it's an imaginary state of mind, and this is a poetic word. But what is the meaning of this kind of, or what is behind of this kind of invention? And so in my interpretation, so these kind of names as oscillating oral objects in which pronunciation will always preserve the oral memory of another language. So we cannot pronounce these names in a single language or in a single way, because if it's a mixed and hybrid name, so we need to pronounce in at least in 2 languages. Yes, because Mustafa and Mukama. So that's or Geza. Okay, but it's another Geza. Geza Ukira. So that's then another language. So somehow, and this, it's very easy when the first name is we can say that is a Polish, and the second name is a German. So it's a hybrid name, but it's not. He is much more tricky. So because even though the title, so the Hungarian title is, if we read in Hungarian, is Finistra. If we read in proper Hungarian way. So, and so we need to, if we read Sinistra, so that's the way written in Hungarian. So, so he creates such a word for Hungarian readers who read. But even the title must be read in non-Hungarian way. So, and if they don't, so I have some students who read this title as Sinistra, but sounds like so that yeah. So yeah, and also the narrator, the name of the narrator is Andrei Bodor, which is again, the Bodor, yeah, it's quite a play, but so it's, I will read this because I think I need to, yeah. So the name contains the writer's Hungarian surname, Bodor, making it fertile territory for the interplay of reality and fiction, but is also a hybrid name with a Romanian first name, Andrei, that has a non-Romanian letter in the original, the J. So in Hungarian text, this appears as a Hungarian phonetic transcription of the Romanian unvoiced final E, and consequently, it also sounds like a Slavic name. So he somehow translates this oral and written form, because the Andrei in Romanian is written in this way. Yeah, as you can see. But he writes in Hungarian text as the spoken version or the spelling version, as a written version in Hungarian. So because he changes the E to J. So yeah, and unfortunately in English translation, this aspect is missing, because they translate or translated in as Romanian Andrei. So, but it's okay. So this is the case of E or J, but also this kind of Andrei. So we can pronounce Andrei or Andrei, Andrei, Romanian name written and pronounced in Hungarian. Yes, Andrei or Andre, or yeah. So this has also possibilities in pronunciation, because we can pronounce in yeah. Yeah. So that's the way. So not just the second name is Bodor, or the first name is Bodor, and it sounds like a Hungarian name in context of the writer names. But the Andrei, so we have these possibilities to say that Andrei. So that's yeah. So this is why I say that these names have inherently dispersive possibilities for pronunciation. Yeah, and then the novel inscribes this accented reading to the names and implicitly embodies its Hungarian and international readers as accented. So and I think it's not is most probably no reader who could pronounce every name without an accent. This is not a matter of language skills, as this name. Yes, I also. So there is no reader who can pronounce without all the names without an accent. So, okay. Yeah. So the next question is, in such multi and hybrid word, what languages do the characters in the novel speak to each other? So this is the question, because the novel is in Hungarian language, but the characters are so multi-ethnic, so we cannot we don't know in which languages they talk. All dialogues play out in a hybrid textual and linguistic space. The narrative is written in Hungarian, but the dialogues could be considered as translations because of the multi-ethnic border zone they are held in. So the novel, therefore, does not just condense traces of other languages as the language is used, as the language it uses could itself be interpreted as a translated language. So the sinister zone as a fictional text restructures Hungarian cultural perception in such a way that we could imagine a Hungarian language that is born translated, but one that also simultaneously oscillates between different accents. So this is what I say that why it's more political aspect, but somehow this kind of poetics goes against of this nationalization of languages. Yeah. Okay, so but somehow in another word appears traces of the languages. So it appears with one character, the red rooster, who appears in that place. In the diegetic space, and he was a slight, wispy fellow who spoke Ukrainian, Romanian, Hungarian, and even Carpathian German, but he spoke none of these well. So these are the languages which appear in the diegetic verb. The other person or character where we can see that this kind of languages is Connie Illafeld or Cornelia Illarivon. So she has two names. So unfortunately, she entered a medical torture. So this is the tutorial here in the diegetic word. Cornelia Irari or Connie Illafeld can only speak in a ruined multilingual gibberish language that reveals all the existing languages together in their ruined disappearances. In a controversial way, the violence preserves and makes audible all the languages spoken in the region through their destruction, through their destruction. Her original surname Ilarion indicates her Russian origin. So this is again what we see, what we saw in the landscape. The Russian hills again appears in one character's layer. So Koni Illafed, Hilarion. So I have this Hilarion. It's a Russian prodigy. And so one fine spring day back when I worked as an assistant corpse watchman, I finally got to know Connie Illafed. It wasn't exactly the most delightful meeting I would ever had, seeing as how, for all practical purposes, she no longer spoke any of one single language. Instead, she mixed them left and right. And the only people who could communicate with her somewhat had to know Ukrainian, Swabian German, Romanian, and Hungarian. And it didn't hurt to know Carpathian German, Ruthenian dialects as well. So, yeah. So this is, again, how the text gives some traits or indications to the languages in which probably the character they speak with each other, so or switch probably. But it's very important the region's vernacular languages are embodied in a ruined mode by Cornelia Ilarion. So this kind of ruined mode. In Bodor's poetic world, the destroyed, ruined multilingualism is interconnected with the brutality of a dictatorial system. The violence preserves and makes audible all the languages spoken in the region through their destruction. So that's, yeah. Authorities dehumanize her female body and at the same time conserve her significant historical name on a shiny metal nameplate. It thus commemorates her Russian inheritance and her former social status. So this kind of process of destroying to preserve. This is also, I think, an interesting aspect how this dictatorial regime works. So, because they put her name Ilarion, which is a Russian noble name. They put her name on her neck, but her is like a hairy figure. So it's in between animal and human because of the medical torture. So this is again a very, very strong aspect. Yeah. Okay, I think I told this Rusina memory. Okay, so I will arrive to the Verhovina. The second, yeah. Here I will. The imaginary poetic world of the birds of Verhovina is situated somewhere further east than previous novel, in the mixed Romanian, Polish, Hungarian, Moldovan, Ukrainian, Transcarpathian region, and it is also set in a time closer today. While in the Sinistra zone, Chernivtsi appeared across the border, Ternowitz in the Birds of Verhovina seems to be in the same geopolitical space as where the story is set. 2 weeks before he was arrested, my adoptive father, Brigadier Anatol Korkodus, brought me a brand new style, petrol style, I don't know, Chenso, he said he had ordered it from Chernowitz. So the Sinistra Zone was translated by Paul Molschari, who unfortunately died last year. And the Birds of Verhovina was translated by Peter Sherwood. So we have two different translations into English. So, and it will be important in the case of Chernobyl, especially. So the birth of Verhovina preserves the different historical layers of the space and also the memory of a multi-ethnic region, this time imbued with the cultural ruins and linguistic debris of Jewish, Yiddish, and Hungarian culture. So the Silica zone was dealing with Ruthenian heritage, now with Jewish, Yiddish, and Hungarian. Following Hartmut Böhme's ideas, the aesthetic of ruins, the novel is set around buildings and in a natural and cultural landscape in which the traces of former vanished world appear with a new semantics converted into a new function. The Jewish build and spiritual heritage appears as a movable memory in process of transformation, which as memorial ruins become the silent sign language of history. So I will run a bit. So I use this here, the Gernot Böhme's ruins, aesthetics of ruins concept, because I think it's very useful, and can read the quote. So the square building with its ornate facade and oval windows had been built with Isaac Gold's money as a kind of small synagogue. But by the time it was completed, both the entire gold clan and the entire man clan had converted to Lutheranism. The building stood empty for years till Anatol Korkodus had it converted into a public wash house. It was fed by and yeah. So this is what Böhm says about the poetics of ruins, that the ruin is the ruin is with a building or something which gets a new function. So it's converted in something. It reminds us the former use, but it's converted in something. So now here the synagogue is converted and gets a new function as a public wash house. So, but still, so this is also very important, I feel, but still remains a trace of a synagogue as a wash house. So this is the layering and stratification of the legacies of a place. So and also so that this kind of through the converted buildings and the religion's conversion, the former function of the synagogue and the former religion are preserved as absent. So that's yeah. In describing the transformation processes, the narration stratifies the former architectural and spiritual heritage of a transformed Jewish community. Their former presence is converted into a transit memory that is preserved by other languages, different religions, and new functions for buildings. So this I think this transit memory that they are preserved in transformation. So that's I think yeah. And also this Hungarian, the Austro-Hungarian institution was Lutheranism. And the material memory is also converted. So the conversion and the transformation doesn't stop. That's yeah. And this is the funny layer in this novel, that the Hungarian language, the novel is written in Hungarian, so it's a Hungarian novel. But the Hungarian language in the diegetic world appears as a forgotten language and as a cultural ruin that nobody understands. So this is we have this common with Marianne, that this kind of unreliable narrator. So because we are reading a Hungarian novel, but even the narrator doesn't understand the Hungarian language. So I will have this this quote. So in this quote, Hungarian appears as a forgotten language, but just you can read, please read this quote. So. So the narrator can read Hungarian, but he cannot understand. But the Clara Bursen, her name also is very tricky, doesn't understand nothing. Just he likes to listen the language. So the Hungarian language appears as an acoustic or something like music. So and but we never get anywhere. So they try to understand the text, but they never get anywhere. So the language Hungarian appears as a non-spoken and incomprehensible language in the diegesis, but its acoustic and its sound have an effect on the listener. The Hungarian language appears in its sound and its acoustic materiality as an oral medium like music. So I have here this kind of crunching and fracturing the alien words. It's this kind of materiality of the language, which is, so, it's a very physical, yeah. So I have here the French translation because we have here because of the Clara Bursen and Bursan for because the text uses different French for one word, but I will skip this aspect because I think I am too long, and also I have the Italian because I like this the last ma non approdiamo a nulla, so they don't understand nothing. Yeah. So they don't understand the Hungarian language in the Hungarian novel and written by the same narrator. But we get some again some instructions what kind of language is the common language in the diegesis. So the local written language appears. So here is the quote: "You are not wrong, I say. What you see are small crosses marking graves. They mean no more than what they say. In these parts, we don't use vowels. We write using consonants. The rest, everyone adds in their head. STLN. Does that mean anything to you? No. There is nothing to talk about." So this is the narrator, ironic poet. So I really like the Hungarian. I read the Hungarian version because I can pronounce better. Jól látja, mondja. Amiket lát, azok kicsit semmi más nem jelentenek, csak azt, ami rájuk van írva. Mi errefele nem használunk magánhangzókat. Mással hangzókkal írunk, a többit mindenki hozzá gondolja. STLN, mondd ez magának valamit? Nem? Akkor nincs miről beszélni. So this is the Hungarian version. Yeah. So again, as in Sinistra, so it's a translation. So the novel we can consider as a translation without an original, whose Hungarian narrative function as a translational medium of multilingual cultural memory and of shift epochs. So the probably so we can guess or imagine in which language these characters are talking to each other. So the nature of their fluidity, interacting and layered word means that they presumably switch languages, like in a border zone. Yes, so they, and this is why the accent is very important, because we are in a border zone. So yeah, but this thing, what is certain is the distinction between the written and spoken languages within the diegetic world. So because they use consonants, so it could be deciphered as Hebrew or yeah, or I don't know which other language, but yeah. The narrator's ironic remark, the rest everyone adds in their head, could be conceived as a kind of self-reflective dance for the reader too. So this is again an ironic point. So, and now a little bit about the translation, just about the Chernovitz. So as you remember, in both appears the Chernovitz, and it also is a guidance or an index that the diegetic word is outside of the Chernovitz, and the Chernovitz is in the diegetic word. So this is also the geographical difference between two numbers. So and this is a very multilingual and multi-layered city. And I have a quote from actually an open access book. I really recommend this Multicultural Cities of the Habsburg Empire. It's a recent book. And this, I learned a lot about from this book. So Czernivtsi, Czernowitz, Ukrainian Czernivtsi, Polish Czernowitz, German Czernowitz, or Czernowitz, Romanian Czernowitz, Russian Chernovtsi. Yes, and I also wanted to use the alphabets. Yeah. The transformative processes are also highlighted in the literary translations of the novels. Individual translation choices further highlight the complex poetics of the text. Differences in translation choices while mobilizing the historical certification of the name make it even more pronounced the mixed oral and accented nature of the original naming. And more generally, I will skip this. So the ambiguity of the names is emphasized even more in translation. So the name Chernovitz written in this way, or its variant Hungarian spelling Černovici is written in the same way in the both novels analyzed, but it is translated differently into English. So the first Paul Orshvary uses the Černovci, the Sinistrazon, so the Ukrainian transcription into English. This is the yes. And in the words of Verhovina, the translation uses the German variation. So yeah, the Ukrainian name and the German version. So this is two choice. And also the Liv Lemberg is differently translated, which is again. So you can see the from Chernivtsi and Liv from the second the words of Verhovina for Chernovitz. So this is the two choice in English. So yeah, but in Romanian, the Romanian translation, yeah, so he uses Din Cernăuț, the Romanian name, and also the Serbian, Evreia is Černovica I Lavrova, I cannot read the Estonian, but I try to Černivtsi Alvini Jutidele, probably. That's it. This is the Estonian version. So what I want to say here, so that the Romanian translation preserves, it's translated by Marius Tabaki, who also unfortunately died, preserves the multi-ethnic character of the city by choosing a Romanian name. The translation omits the name of Liv. So the Liv disappears from the Romanian translation. I don't know why. But yeah, he uses the Romanian version. And the languages further away from the geocultural region of Central and Eastern Europe, they are also have a variety of possibilities. The French and Italian translation, they keep the Hungarian version, which is very, very it's a choice, because the Hungarian yeah, the Czernowitz, so that's the ch in French and in Italian, so it's quite hardly to be pronounced. So that's but they keep the Hungarian version. The German translation, Aus Czernowitz, uses the German version. So yeah. And so what is interesting? So I was very surprised myself, because I hope that I was able to show you that I really like these novels, and I work a lot with them. But I didn't realize that the Hungarian version, Czernowitz, is not the proper Hungarian version of the city, because the Hungarian version would be so then first. And I realized in this translation network of the name, which is a multilingual city. So and in this mirror, I realized that the novel is an invented name. So the written form of the name as a memory of the hybrid pronunciation again stresses the existence of an intraethnic and multilingual vernacular. So yeah, I need to do this one. So the Czernowitz, written in this hybrid way, looks and sounds like a Hungarian hybrid spelling of the German and Slavic names. Yeah, because the city's name in Hungarian is Czernowitz. So it mixed together in and it's very I don't know because it's very close to the German version, but it's not the proper German version. So because yeah, because the half of it is in Hungarian, and the half of it is in German. So yeah. And this is what was very, very interesting for me, this process that, okay, it's just a city name, and probably it's not a problem. and in this kind of network of translations, so then I realized, okay, it's not the proper Hungarian version in that yeah, in the modern poetic word. Yeah, so this is my let's say conclusion, that the poetic Hungarian language of the novel does not appropriate the name for a Hungarian past or legacy. Rather, it creates the name as an oral site of movable memory, where the historic juxtapositions and the multilingual coexistences are apparently and audibly inscribed. So that's when I think this aspect comes up when we compare the translations. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is I will stop here. Yeah. So thank you.